The birth of a legend. What if I told you one man by the age of 30 conquered most of the known world, yet died alone in a foreign land under circumstances still shrouded in mystery? What if I told you his empire stretched from Greece to India, but his greatest battle may have been with himself? This isn't just history. This is obsession, betrayal, ambition, maybe even murder. His name? Alexander of Macedon, but you know him by another title, Alexander the Great. Born in 356 BCE, under a blood moon in the kingdom of Macedon, his birth was said to be foretold by omens. Lightning struck the temple of Artemis, the earth shook, and his mother Olympias whispered that her son was not born of man, but of Zeus himself. Was it myth, or a sign of what was to come? From a young age, Alexander displayed an insatiable hunger for knowledge, power, and glory. Tutored by Aristotle, his mind was a furnace of philosophy and ruthlessness. At just 16, he led armies into battle. At 16, most of us were figuring out how to parallel park. Alexander, he was conquering cities. But behind this brilliance lurked something darker, a volatile temper, a god complex, a paranoia that would only grow. And when his father, King Philip II, was assassinated at his own daughter's wedding, many asked, was it fate or was it Alexander? The rise of an empire. Alexander ascended the throne in 336 BCE, and almost instantly the blood began to spill. Rivals? Eliminated. Allies? Questioned. Even his own family members were not safe. Yet his charisma was undeniable. When he spoke, armies marched, cities surrendered, and legends were born. His first great conquest? The mighty Persian Empire. Picture this, 333 BCE. The Persian king Darius III fields an army twice the size of Alexander's. The terrain? A narrow plain hemmed in by mountains. A trap for any ordinary general. But Alexander? He saw opportunity. He split his forces, struck at Darius's weak point, and forced the mighty king to flee the battlefield. Imagine being a soldier under Alexander, watching your godlike leader ride into chaos, spear held high, defying death. Would you not follow him into fire? From Issus to Tyre to Gaugamela, victory followed him like a shadow. City after city fell. Babylon, Susa, Persepolis, the great capitals of Persia, reduced to spoils. He burned Persepolis, the crown jewel of Persia. Some say it was revenge. Others say he was drunk. The flames lit the night sky for days. You ever finish a bag of chips and think, yeah, I could eat 6 more? Alexander finished a continent and thought, let's try India. The invasion of India. But India was no mere territory. It was a realm of monsoons, war elephants, and kings who didn't bow to foreign gods. The Battle of the Hydaspes in 326 BCE would test Alexander like never before. Facing King Porus and his elephant army, his men hesitated. Alexander studied the land, crossed the river in a violent storm, and struck Porus's flank. Victory was hard-earned. His respect for Porus so great, he reinstated him as king. But the toll was evident. His men, homesick, exhausted, had marched for years. They refused to go further east. It was the first time Alexander met resistance not from enemies, but from his own. But he wasn't just fighting battles out there. He was fighting ghosts, betrayal, madness, and a sickness that no sword could defeat. The return march, the Gedrosian Desert. The return from India was a descent into hell. Alexander chose to march through the Gedrosian Desert, a barren wasteland. No food, no water. Thousands died. Men drank their own blood. Animals perished. The heat scorched the skin from their bones. Why did he do it? Historians still argue. Pride, punishment, or a desperate gamble to match the legendary myth of Cyrus the Great? The answer died with the men who fell. The fall of a god. Babylon, 323 BCE. Alexander returned a changed man. His hair longer, his eyes darker, the boy king was now a weary god. He tried to unify the world he conquered, encouraging intermarriage, merging cultures, and embracing Persian customs. But his men began to whisper. Was he still Macedonian, or had he become the very thing they once fought? His paranoia grew. He killed trusted generals, banished old friends. Some say he cried at night, others that he spoke to shadows. The man who once wept because there were no more worlds to conquer now stared into his wine cup like it held the meaning of life. The final days. In June 323 BCE, Alexander attended a banquet. He drank, danced, laughed. Then a fever struck. Within days, he could no longer walk. Then he could no longer speak. His generals gathered. They asked, "To whom do you leave the empire?" His answer? To the strongest. And then he died. Or did he? Some believe he was poisoned by a jealous general. Others say it was disease, typhoid, malaria, or West Nile virus. But here's where it gets darker. Ancient accounts suggest his body didn't decay for days, not even a smell. Was he really dead? Or trapped inside his own body, paralyzed, conscious, and buried alive? Imagine dying and no one knows you're still alive. The immortal mystery. Alexander's body was taken to Egypt. His tomb became a place of worship. Caesars visited it. Emperors paid tribute. And then it vanished. Was it stolen, hidden, or deliberately destroyed? No one knows. And maybe that's the point. Some men become so large, history can't contain them. So instead, they fade into legend. There is nothing impossible to him who will try. Would you follow Alexander into darkness? Let us know in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe to ThinkTrail, where facts turn into legends.